My name is Robbie Jacobs, Executive Director of Children's Chorus of Washington, and I'm joined here today at the Smithsonian's Hirshhorn Museum, the National Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art, by the amazing creative team for Agents of Deterioration. Creators Maia, Chao and Ethan Philbrick, the Hirshhorn's co-curator of this 50th anniversary permanent collection, Betsy Johnson, and Children's Chorus of Washington's Artistic Director, Margaret Namora Clark. They're with me today to share a little bit about this exciting new piece that was commissioned for the Hirshhorn's 50th anniversary, performed by 14 singers from the Children's Chorus of Washington and premieres this weekend. Maia, could you tell us a little bit about what audiences can expect if they come to experience the piece and how the collaboration came about?
Sure. So if audiences come to see this piece, they will find a choral tour experience where the singers from the Children's Chorus of Washington will take audience members through the exhibition of Revolutions, and the lyrics of the libretto that they'll be singing are kind of sampled texts from art historians, art conservators, philosophers, thinking about themes of permanence and loss and fragility in times of political and ecological crisis. And the way that this came to be is I met Betsy at a Hirshhorn Museum gala where my mentor, Nina Kachadorian, was one of many honorees at the gala. And so she invited me to come. It was this amazing intergenerational event of artists coming together. And Betsy and I got to know each other and started to talk about this project. I was so excited. I had been wanting to work with Ethan Philbrick. And so I thought, I have the perfect idea. Let's do some kind of musical performance for this. So I contacted Ethan, and then we started to dream up an idea.
Fantastic. And this amazing partnership has really grown into a beautiful and amazing project that I hope folks will want to come and see this weekend. Betsy is the assistant curator here at the Hirshhorn and the co-curator of this amazing gallery where we're speaking right now, and of course was instrumental in turning this amazing project into a reality. Betsy, when the Hirshhorn commissioned the piece for the 50th anniversary, what were you hoping to articulate about the museum itself? And how do you feel that bringing music into the galleries enhances the visitor experience?
Well, one of the core themes of this exhibition that we're sitting here within, which was designed for our 50th anniversary, was to show how artists working today, contemporary artists, are still engaging with a lot of the same themes and ideas that historic artists are looking at. So the main thrust of this show goes from 1860 to 1960, but then we have inserted contemporary artists to dialogue with these older works and really show how current many of the ideas still are. So it seemed, to my co-curator Marina Isgro and I, that it just seemed natural to commission a performance for this space, and something where people would actually be engaging in real time with the artwork, something a bit more phenomenological where people are in space, and an artist today is kind of interpreting or helping provide an alternate lens to this exhibition. And so, Maia has this really robust history of social practice artworks that she's engaged in, and I was so impressed from the first time I met her, and was just thrilled at the idea of having an opportunity to work with her. And when she brought Ethan on board and the Children's Chorus of Washington, we were just over the moon. Especially the idea of music in the galleries is one that seems particularly appropriate to this exhibition. Several of the artists on view just in this gallery were greatly inspired by music. To name just a few, we've got Kandinsky, we've got Mondrian, we've got Stanton McDonald Wright. And so actually bringing children and the next generation to lead people through with songs seemed like a really magical experience that we wanted to support.
And children in particular, it was an interesting choice. Ethan, when you were creating the piece, and you knew that you wanted to include musical forces. Can you tell us a little bit about why you chose to feature children's voices specifically rather than maybe adults or any other instrumental forces?
Yeah, well, we were, the content of the pieces of music lyrically is bringing up, as Maya was telling us, bringing up these questions of the future. What does it mean to try to imagine better futures in a world full of so much crisis? And so to sort of literalize that with working with young people, and having young people sing words that are also very adult too. That's part of it. The language is very conceptually intense, thematically intense oftentimes, but then we're finding ways for young people to inhabit that language in very like alive and fresh and exciting ways. So yeah, we were curious on, if we're creating a piece that's trying to think about how do we preserve artworks for the future, and what does it mean to preserve an artwork for the future, and what kind of future are we making as we preserve the artwork for that future. Let's work with the future to sing that, so we were really wanting to work with kids. And then also, like we were starting to look into potential partners, and we saw that, your chorus was so wonderful, and we were like, okay, if we could work with these people, like then we could really actually have a very also exciting musical palette, because you were doing such rigorous work with your singer. So yeah, it was really, like how does, the future sing about the future?
We're joined by my dear colleague, Margaret Nomura Clark, who's the Artistic Director of Children's Chorus of Washington. So Margaret, can you tell us a little bit about what the singers' experience has been of rehearsing this work and what they've most enjoyed about this amazing project?
Well, we were fortunate to have Maia come in early on, before we even started it, and talk to us about this piece so that they could really get a clear understanding of what this vision was, what they were about to embark on in rehearsal. And that was a great way to kind of start, and the foundation was laid. And there was some really great conversations with these kids about just thinking about the future themselves. And, I think it really helped give them a perspective in starting this piece. Now, as we started learning it, the kids were like, wow, this is pretty cool. This is really neat. And there are several movements. And with each movement, Ethan has basically combined certain voices. Some of them are older, some of them are younger. And the text is also aligned with their ages too. And I really enjoyed collaborating with both Ethan and Maia while they were even writing the piece. And it felt very customized to us in many ways. I was very honored to do that. And so to have these kids then learn this and practice it and see their excitement, they realize that this is such a unique experience, and the performance expectations for them are at a different level too. So there's no conductor, they are kind of like it. And the students are helping to basically play the music. And then in this space, it's been wonderful to see how both Ethan and Maia have taken the music off the page and literally created this performance piece that the kids are having a wonderful time learning, and I think they're owning it. So with each practice, I think, and now that we're here in this space, it's with the sound and the artwork, it's coming to life in many ways.
So the project combines amazing contemporary art, choral singing, new music. And I wonder if you'd each share your perspective on how partnership has been important in the conception of this work. Margaret, maybe you can kick us off.
It's wonderful to kind of like pass the baton over and just see how, after I've worked with the kids and prepared them, then seeing how, Ethan and Maia have their own vision of this, and then, and then for Betsy in this space. So with each layer, it's been just a wonderful collaboration. I love collaborations and partnerships. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have any.
Yeah, I started out trying to make art in a studio all alone, and I learned that that's really not the artist I am. And so I was really excited to work with Ethan. I'm in a choir myself, and I'd already been bringing music into my practice a bit, film and performance practice. And so Ethan and I had a really fun time. We started basically by reading a lot of text together and learning about this show, speaking with Betsy a lot about to better understand this show, and then kind of singing things to each other, voice memos, singing random little ditties to each other. And then Ethan had the magic of putting it all together and composing it. So it's been kind of, I feel like, very much co-authored, just step by step.
These sorts of collaborations are some of the most amazing things that we get to do here at the museum. And, you know, we're an international museum of modern and contemporary art. Our artists and our artworks come from all over the world, but we also have a local community of people who are very invested in the arts. And it's so wonderful when we get to work with some of those local artists. And I've managed to do this with singers before, with other kinds of musicians, with other kinds of muralists on different projects. And it's great because we get to involve our community in something that is unfolding, in an artwork that is being made at the museum. And it's really a different kind of ownership. Like you said before, the kids were really starting to own the work. We feel like it's a way of really kind of extending the Hirshhorn and making it feel like it's theirs too. You know, they'll have had a different sort of interaction and engagement with the museum that makes it feel like, you know, they understand these corridors, and they feel like they are a part of this place. And that to me is just so crucial to what we're doing.
Fantastic. And Ethan, I wonder if you'll share your perspective.
Totally. I think, I mean, for me, I think similarly to Maia, like just even the idea of the individual artist doesn't make sense to me. You know, like, I mean, even artists who produce paintings, they do so in collaboration, you know, in implicit collaborations with tons of people, with materials, with all these things, you know, like we're all exist in the webs of friendships and collaborations, explicit or implicit. And so to do something that was such an explicit collaborative undertaking, you know, there's so many of us, different institutions partnering, us co-authoring, working with Betsy and the Hirshhorn, working with Margaret in a lot of conversation over the summer as we built the piece, then getting into the studio with the kids and really co-authoring things with them too. You know, there are improvisational moments in this, so finding an improvisational voice, finding some of the movement things has really been generated with the singers, you know, so there's just co-authorship and all through every single layer of this, and that's the space that I think is most interesting to be in.
Thank you all so much for sharing your time and your expertise this afternoon. And this is going to be such an amazing project. It premieres on October 5th, and you can come and see it at 3 times during that weekend, 12 o'clock, 2:30 p.m. or 4 p.m. The tickets are available online for free, and you can scan the QR code on screen to find them, or the link to find those tickets is in the description. Please come and see it. It's going to be an amazing experience, and it's been a pleasure to speak with you about it today.